How are we doing?
Doing well.
Fantastic. There's more of us. I'm not sure where everybody is, but maybe they'll be joining us a little late. Looking at my email, making sure there's no fires burning here. But welcome. We'll get started. My name is Ian Blackburn. It's Zoom into Wine every Wednesday at 7 o'clock. We get some great people together to taste some amazing wines from all over the great land. And tonight is a really fun collection of wines. Basically, kind of like the wines. I just don't know how to batch them any differently than to present them in this little selection tonight. We've got a wine from Spain. We've got a Spain show coming down the pipeline very soon. We've done a number of Bordeaux presentations recently. So we've got another great Bordeaux in this lineup. An Italian white, which I think we just did something with Italian whites, or maybe we have something coming. Um, Italian red, a Washington red, and a Zinfandel. So it's about as eclectic as you could get in our tastings. But these are wines that I really enjoy, and I'm really excited to share them with you. So let's begin. And let me get it in there. Where'd my slideshow go? Come on. Boom, boom, boom. There it is. And here we go. So I called it the new wines to taste and fall in love with, because I'm hoping that for many of you and those of you watching later, that I'm the person who gets to introduce you to some of these great little champions. We're going to start off in northern Spain with a wine that we hope to visit in February with our trip to Spain. We're going to start off in San Sebastian and head down into Rioja, staying at one of the great hotels designed by Frank Gehry in Rioja. We'll stay at the number one hotel in San Sebastian as well, and then finish up in Madrid after a stop at a couple of famous wineries in Ribera del Duero. Spend a couple of days in Madrid and then head over to Barcelona. And the culinary on this trip will be outstanding. The winery visits will be nothing short of epic. And there's some really amazing wines to find along the way. When we're in San Sebastian, this is what they drink. It's called Txakolina. And this is a little producer that's brought in by a really nice specialty importer. It's kind of one of those things where you order it when it comes in and then it's gone. So I only have a few bottles of this. I'm expecting you to love it. I mean, how can you not? It is so delicious. I will get a different Txakolina to replace this with when and if this is gone, but I expect this to vaporize. We're looking at the Atlantic Ocean, northern Spain, San Sebastian, kind of the major area, Bilbao as well. But San Sebastian is really the driving market for this. You'd walk to any of the tapa restaurants, you might spend like 10 to 15 euro on an entire meal, and maybe add a $8 bottle, because that's what these wines cost over there. Um, when you're in San Sebastian, it's really fresh, fun, easy to drink an entire bottle on your own. They are low in alcohol. They are slightly frizzant, and they are absolutely delicious. Um, we've got a brand here that's been around since 1820, so a lot of great history. And there's a view from the vineyards. You could see how close to the ocean they are, and that's why there's so much ocean influence, a little saltiness in the nose. and it's just a really fun wine. The grape varieties may not be something you're too familiar with, but these are the primary grape varieties. Hondurabi Zari or Zuri, Hondurabi Zuri, and Hondurabi Belza. Um, that they are blended together here. Beautiful aromatic. I'm going to get the wine. I'm pouring it from the bottle tonight. But nice and cool. This one you want to definitely keep on the cool side. And here's a little bit about each of the grapes. Typically feature quite a bit of minerality. Of course, the citrus vein. I did not know Zuri means white. That's cool. So Hondurabi Zuri, the white. And then Belza. What does Belza mean? A Maine dark-skinned variety. So they're probably believed to be a descendant of Cabernet Franc. And aren't they all? Um, so this is really a grape variety used to make reds and rosés. That's right. I understood that to be true. And this is a look from the tasting room at the winery. Not sure if we'll visit this particular winery when we go, but they all feature this super fresh, super vibrant drink it young, drink it early, and by the time they get all the way over here, they end up costing about 25 bucks a bottle and paying all the three levels of the three-tier system to get here. I like the that herbal tension that you can smell kind of sitting right on top of that salty minerality. It's like a green apple, maybe even like a green apple, one of those candies that is kind of like a watermelon or kind of a sweet and sour kind of apple candy. That's exactly it. What is it? Jolly Rancher? Is that what it's called? That's the nose, right? What do you think of that? Have any of you had one of these before? I'd love to get your impressions, your ideas. It's like I said, low in alcohol. It's 2024, 10.5 on the alcohol. Whereas we call it the wine we drink at work. Now, a little bit of sweetness, but wow, does that acidity just come racing up right behind it? That's the whole idea. It's almost like German Riesling, like a really nice dry Riesling or something early harvested. It's got that super fun freshness, almost zippity, that slight little kiss of effervescence. Hopefully, it's still very present in your little jars. Just imagine it with fresh seafood. George, no, we have not tasted this one, but I have tasted other Cxakolina. And I will be honest, I'm not telling you this one in particular I mean, there's some nobility to this one because it's been around for a long time. It's a recognizable producer if you're into Cxakolina. But man, there's so many that are so good and they're so close and price point wise, they all kind of fall into a range. So this is like a, a fighter in the Coliseum duking it out. They're all pretty damn good. I was just talking the other day, the wines of the world have all gotten pretty good. Who can afford to make bad wine? It's just really reached a point where, the grandparents have retired and the PhDs have taken over. So you've got the people in the vineyards understanding the science of grape growing, and the people in the wineries understanding the science behind making the wine. And the heirs of yesteryear are maybe behind most wineries. So I hope you enjoyed our Cxakolina start. That will get some pep in your step. I really enjoy that thing is almost as fresh as that thing is green on the color. I think the green bottle really also helps implant that Jolly Rancher idea, but that nose is just wonderfully crispy salted green apple. Did not spit even a little bit of that because it feels so good. It's a Wednesday. We're working really hard around here. We got a lot of projects going on, and I'm so enjoying July so far. We could have temperatures in the hundreds, 105, 110 by now, and it's been just 75 in the morning. Been going for the morning runs and not dying, and that's nice. We're going to move into yet another one I'm so excited to introduce you to. And before I say too much, I had the great pleasure of being able to interview the winemaker. So we're going to get right into it, and we'll take it into the video, and then I won't duplicate anything I say twice. Each week at Zoom into Wine, we get to taste some special wines from all over the world. And the young lady that's on the Zoom with us here, Carolyn Debonet, is a special guest. We've worked together for many years, and now she's a major importer of beautiful selections from small family farms. And it's great to have you here to introduce our next wine. Good morning.
Good morning. It's great to be here with you. And I am so pleased to actually be able to introduce to you the first producer with whom I worked when I founded my import company back in 2009. So we've been working together for the last 16 years.
Wow.
Gaetano
long time.
Gaetano Bove and his daughter Raffaella from Tenuta San Francesco in the beautiful area of the Amalfi Coast, Tramonti, precisely. But yes, we have a long history of not just working together, but a friendship as well. And it is thanks to him that I was able to launch the company Caroline Debonet Selections back in 2009. But more importantly, Gaetano has a winery that truly reflects the magic and the unique terroir that one finds in the Tramonti Valley. So Gaetano, welcome. Thank you, and Raffaella for joining us as well.
Thank you all.
Ciao from Italy.
Ciao a tutti dall'Italia.
And you're sitting at the winery now, which is set up where, Caroline?
Well, Gaetano, Raffaella, you go ahead. In Tramonti.
In Tramonti? Okay. So you take it away, Gaetano.
Yeah, okay. I founded the Tenuta San Francisco winery in 2004 because before this year, we delivered our grapes to another winery over the area. And we have in the 2004 big problems with the cost of the fresh grapes. And one night I become crazy because this was the history and tradition of my family from a long time, I think from a Roman time, because Amalfi Costa, in particular, the Monte Valley, is so close to Pompeii, the old city of Pompeii. And I think all people know that 2000 years ago, Pompeii was like Las Vegas for Americans today was the top city for relax, for holiday, because the Imperator Tiberio at the time lived in Capri Island, and all rich family of Rome must make expensive residence villas around the coast of Campania, and Pompeii in particular become the top city for relaxing summertime. For this, we have a long history, a tradition for produce grapes and wine. And I funded this winery with my partners, my brother, and two farmer friends. My partners was also my clients. And we started in the 2004, and we produce in face this blue label, the Tramonti blue label. Tramonti is the name of the valley. Tramonti Valley is the farmer area of Amalfi Coast, is the vineyards of Amalfi Coast, because the 18% of the grapes of Amalfi Coast was produced, made in this valley. And this white wine is a special stock. Because of this label, we produce, I think, the 25% of the bottles of the winery, and is a special label for me because a client starts for buy this white wine after buy more quality selection, the white Cru Pereva or another red selection like the Tintore Ace.
It's the first wine that we made in 2004. And also we choose the blue label to remember the color of our sea, ocean.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. This is a village because in Tramonti Valley we have 45 different little vineyards. And for produce this white wine, enter normal different vineyards. And is a blend of Falangina, Biancolella, and Pepella variety.
Wow, that's very nice. Is this wine made in stainless steel? And how long is it sitting on the lees? And is there any type of winemaking that we need to be aware of?
Yeah, in particular, I don't like white wine with the oak flavor inside. And I prefer this more clean style.
Refreshing white wine.
Yeah, in particular for this white Tramonti wine, but also for our top white Cru Pereva. For this white wine, we preserve the wine after the fermentation minimum 6 months on the heath.
There's no question, Gaetano, that your style of vinification, because everything is done in stainless steel, the typicity of the grapes and of the terroir, I mean, it's like having a glass of sea. The saltiness of the sea comes through in this beautiful wine, don't you think, Raffaella?
Yes, I think that is a quite salty white wine. We have a particular terroir. Our soil is clay, but we have also some volcanic ash and pumice from the Vesuvio, the volcano in Naples, with many eruptions, here many like volcanic stones like pumice. And I think that they give to our wines this minerality. Also, we have the influence from the sea. The most of our vineyard, they have a southeast exposure, and so I think, yeah, this wine remember our sea.
For sure.
Well, it is a beautiful expression. And I was so happy to be introduced to it. So thank you, Caroline. And I'm very pleased to meet you all, and I hope to visit you in Italy at some point. Maybe we cross paths at a restaurant or something like that. What would we serve your wine with if we were visiting you?
Allora, in Italy is popular spaghetti e vongole, spaghetti with the clams is in particular the top for this white wine.
Perfect, perfect. We are very proud to carry your wine, and we are having very good success with it. And I think tonight's Zoom, we're going to have a lot more fans as well. So thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you,
Thank
Ian.
you for choosing our wine.
Thanks for your time, and we wait you in Italy in our wine.
They are so cute. I got to tell you, it was such a fun time Zooming with them because I mean, it was the camera in the hand. It was going all over the place, and Raffaella and Gitano are almost fighting for screen time there, and it was just super fun to to talk with them. They were both so enthusiastic and so authentic. And I find that shining through in their wines. I carry both of them. In fact, I started carrying the red, and I found the red at a very top restaurant here in Los Angeles called Bavel, where I'm telling you now that Caroline is really a top salesperson, and she has the cool stuff that the cool kids want. And uh, and so I go to Bevel, I see the wine, I turn it around, and there's her name on the back of the bottle. I'm like, oh God, I got to get this. It's delicious. And I bring it in, and immediately orders are popping off my website because people are finding these wines in top restaurants. That's what she does. And then she comes in recently, not even maybe 2 months ago. She goes, "Oh, you've been having good success with the red. You should try the white." She goes, I only have enough white for, probably one order, but if you want it, you can have it, da da da." And I brought it in and immediately sold everything I bought in like a week. So I go to her, I said, "How much more you got?" She goes, "Three cases." Okay, great. I took it all. So I think that what I really enjoy about this wine is that food pairability. And I will be using this wine. Like if I were doing a sushi dinner, which I'm planning right now, this will be featured in that dinner. And I love it because it has a quality note, a definition, a density, a weight that, there's a lot of very ordinary Falangina wines. This one just has a little bit more of everything, oomph and energy and pride, and I really like it. And so I'm going to move forward in the presentation so we can see how much this baby costs. Let's see, boom, 27.95. So that's like right in my lane to be able to recommend somebody something. And this wine does disappear like 12 bottles at a time. People just come, I mean, you're going to drink one so fast. And just imagine like some white fish with capers and lemon with this. Tremendous, you know? And it's a perfect summer selection. Price point is beyond compare, authentic, small producer, checks a lot of boxes for me. And I always tell people, no wine has the acidity structure of an Italian wine. Italian wines just are sizzling in acidity. And that is a perfect example, and really kind of unfair to not be having it with a, a bowl of linguine and clams. It really needs that. It really needs that. Well, in our journeys recently, we took a group to Bordeaux and still actually kind of recovering from how amazing our Bordeaux trip went. We set out to see so many of the best producers, and we saw them all. Everybody we wanted to see, we were able to see, and that doesn't happen all the time. Sometimes we even make some plans, and fairly last minute, oh, I'm so sorry, we're sick, or somebody got hurt, or something can happen. Nothing happened that took us away from being able to execute every single idea. And one of the ideas was to stay at Smith Lafitte's property in Pessac-Lannion. It is a wonderful destination if you're going to go to Bordeaux, and very much my top recommendation as a hotel, and one of my top recommendations as a wine brand. Very well run. The Cathcart family has been taking very good care of business for a very long time. In fact, my friend Dan took me to Bordeaux. My very first time going to France, I went to Bordeaux. It was just for a couple of days, but it was for the en premiere, and I got to meet Mr. Cathcart when he first got rolling back in the 90s. And he was already being looked up to for his leadership and his ideas and his direction of his brand. And uh, let's just take all of my Bordeaux sales and tell you, if I took Smith Lafitte as a brand versus all the Bordeaux I sell on my website, I think I sell more Smith Lafitte than all other Bordeaux combined. And it's because these wines get amazing scores and they are priced to perfection. Really a lot of wine for the money. And I will preface that by saying they make a number one wine that fights with the best in the business, and they're usually about half of their price, of the other's price. And then this is their second label, and it's so good. So let's go into it and check it out. We're in southern Bordeaux, right below the city of Bordeaux, in Pessac-Lannion, which is the northern Graves area. This is where the Romans came and planted vineyards back in the days, and really this was like the epicenter of winemaking in Bordeaux. There's even a pope from a neighboring winery, Pape Clement, that came from this place. So, and they're very famous for their. This is one of the few areas that is as famous for white as they are red. Here's a look at the winemaking facility. It's got a beautiful underground cellar, caves. There's actually two walking. They own their own forest that's attached to the vineyard, and you can go for a 1 mile hike or a 2 mile hike. They got two separate forests with walking paths. They buy artwork every year as a celebration of their efforts. They have beautiful artwork all over the place. Some art people were on the trip with us, and they were really impressed with the collection that they've amassed. The daughter started the cosmetic brand that they're just as famous for the cosmetic brand, but because I have zero passion for cosmetics, I can't remember the name of the cosmetic brand. Maybe you can chime in and let me know. But they have spa on the hotel, Smith Lafitte, and the cosmetic brand actually sells more. She does more business as a cosmetic brand than the winery does. And then the other daughter is in charge of the hotel brand, and they've now put these small hotels in Loire Valley and in Burgundy, and they have a couple others throughout Europe. So families their business acumen's at a very high level. This is 100% Sauvignon Blanc. We're drinking the 2023, and this is brand new. 23 is a solid white wine vintage. Absolutely no issues with 23s. They've had a nice run of white wine vintages. There's some ups and downs with the reds, but the whites tend to be a little bit more, consistent. You're picking them a little earlier. You don't have to worry about the color concentration, all that stuff. And really the bigger issues kind of come in the latter month of the vintage after the white wine's typically harvested. But it's 100% Sauvignon Blanc. There is more wood put on the top wine of the house, the white. But there's some wood used here, but just probably some older wood, a little bit of stainless steel, and a little bit of new wood blended together to create this wine. You get the second wine got 95 points from Suckling, and I think the top wine either got 100 or 99. That's typically what they do. And they will frequently blend down top wine into this wine to elevate it, because this is the soldier. This is the wine that people fall in love with for Smith Haut Lafitte. So if they make a little less of the top wine, but this wine's all over the world, and it's made to really capture share. Now this is a view. Literally, if you at my room in my hotel, if I opened up the window, that's what I'd be looking at. It's a little guest cottage. They have a few of them. This one's on the pond. There's one of the pieces of art that they have. Really tranquil. There's not much around us except for a large vineyard. You wake up, the smell of grapes, being farmed in the vineyard. You got the roosters crowing. There's Michelin 3-star restaurant on this property, and there's a casual place that's like a bib gourmand. So it's just everything about it's great. And this wine sells for about $60. Now, I will say that prior to this year, this might have been a $50 bottle of wine. But we are seeing tariffs hitting the new wines coming in. And it's a small tariff at this time, only about 10%. But I'm working pretty hard to keep this wine under $60. And it is selling pretty fast. I buy it like 60 bottles at a time, and I'll get some more, but it can often run out of stock. And in fact, last year when we went to the trip, all I had were the #1 wines on the winery, from the winery on the website. So I'm going to go into Merchant of Wine and just show you, putting my money where my mouth is, Smith Haut. I buy a lot of their wines, and I really believe in them. The red and the white. Here's the 23 white that we're tasting. Here's a 19. Notice the similarity in the package, but this is the first wine. 98 points, sells for about $170. Okay, so that's the Paris. Here's the special anniversary label from the 2020 vintage. They do a black label when it's an anniversary. They did it in 15. They did it in 20. Here's the red. Sells for about $200. These are near perfect wines. Here is the red from the 17 vintage, coming in at 42, and the 18 vintage coming in at 41. Really consistent. And the white wines do tend to, from Pesach, sell at a slight premium, often to the reds. Cost adjusted. This 2020 white versus the 2015 red. You can see that this 19 wine has a little bit of a price discount. I'm not sure why. but probably more currency than anything. Let's smell and taste this wine together. Make sure I got through. La la la. May have closed my slideshow. I'm going to go back in. So again, it's 100% Sauvignon Blanc, 95 points. I'm going to click on the wine, open it up. Couple scores there too, pretty consistent. Suckling 95, Dunnick 93, Falstaff, Venuous, Advocate, Independent. They're all weighing in. 55 hectares, gravelly vineyard. Then you think Sauvignon Blanc, you think melon, grapefruit. Again, this is young and fresh, but this wine will age beautifully, probably optimally. We drink this wine in like 28, but it's already great. But this thing will age a while. And so good with food, so good with food. Just, you know, there's so many things that you could work with here. This drinks like a red wine, but it is a white. It has, some really wonderful richness, length, viscosity, and the acidity is really nice, but not too sharp. Doesn't cut like an Italian wine, but really, really beautiful. Any comments, any questions? I've been talking a lot. Love to say hi to you guys. Lee, how you doing? Glad you made it. Is that a pottery studio behind you?
My fantasy pottery studio. Yeah.
You throw clay?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's one in my arts district neighborhood. Have you ever been there to that studio?
What's it called?
I'll find out.
There's still Life Ceramics in the row. Clay CA up in Chinatown. There's quite a few downtown.
It might be called Still Life, maybe.
Yep.
That sounds familiar. Yeah, that's it. Still Life. They do these. They have huge crowds there every day. They're there 7 days a week doing really bang up business.
Yeah.
I'll give them a plug because they're my neighbor. Haven't met them before, but they're right next to my friends Sean and Shannon at the Community Made Shoes, where they make shoes in downtown LA, and they're the studio right next door. So
Okay.
they have little classes and stuff. And
Yeah. I've been there for classes. They're great.
oh, good, good. All right. Got some chat action. Natalie, are you on there with us? Did you make it in?
I'm here,
Yay.
just a little late.
All right. We tasted the beautiful Spanish wine that called Châcolina. You can smell the ocean in that glass. We tasted the Italian white in and around the volcano, Vesuvius. You can smell some of that volcanic earth and feel some of that high acid and also, again, the smell of the ocean. And then Smith-Haut Lafitte, Pessac Lannion, one of the top performing houses in Bordeaux is what we're talking about right now. These are the whites of the night. I think we're all red after this, but I think that's a pretty powerful trio. I would love to have a wine dinner where we started off with like some sort of a seafood, fresh, maybe sushi or seafood tapa type of dish, maybe like a calamari dish with that first wine, the Txakolina. Then I would head in and maybe have the vongole clams, the spaghetti with clams for that second wine. Might hit some sort of a chicken dish with the Smith-Haut Lafitte here. But you don't have to limit yourself to white meat here. Pork would be amazing with the Smith-Haut Lafitte, and I'm sure there's so many different choices like casseroles and things like that that you could play with the Smith-Haut Lafitte. Moving into wine number 4. But before we do that, let me just give a quick plug about next week's rosé tasting. 2025 top look at rosé, so really fun lineup. We put it on sale to get our audience to get a little brighter, bigger 2025, so we made it $25. If you want to join us, it's $25 to get the 6 wines. We're going to taste some killer rosés, some classics, and some big exciting wines from California that I think you'll really enjoy. And so it's a nice journey through the rosé category. We are posting Zooms right now. Probably, it's safe to say, but by the end of this month, we will have our Zooms published through the end of the year. So we're working way out in advance. The month of July and August are fun. We go all over the place, all over the world, and take a little bit more of an educational angle with our August sessions, Loire Valley and Argentina. Move into number 4. This is a wine I have enjoyed sharing with people before, but this is the new vintage from Calabretta. I always like to check in and see how they're doing. This is the new, quote unquote, new vintage 2015, the current release from the winery. This is how they do it around Mount Etna. And a couple of years ago, we were very fortunate to take a group to Sicily. We got there just as the wave of White Lotus was crashing on the island, and every room in the entire island was sold out. Tourism was just booming, but it's still a lot of land, not very many rooms available on the island. So I say that, and we probably didn't barely see anybody else there unless you went into City Central. And it's quite a diverse island. You get all that coastal activity around the outside of the island, but then you can head into the heart of the island and have something very different. It's an island of abundance. They could feed nations. There's so much sunshine and amazing soil. And of course, the volcano is very much alive. In fact, I think they have 2 volcanoes, but Etna is the current one that's alive. And they have 2 airports because of Etna, because of sometimes all airports, even Northern Europe gets affected when Etna really goes off. But Etna's going off all the time. They say it's breathing. And we took a group on a hike on Etna, and we saw these amazing black soils with white trees growing out of the black soils. It looked like something out of Alice in Wonderland, just something really dystopian. But you could see how life was really kind of starting and fighting on Etna. And that's what's happening with this wine industry down there. They've always believed in it, and they've had these phenomenal little winemaking facilities all over the place, not always using the greatest enological tools and equipment, but they've developed their own style of winemaking. It's very practical, very sustainable, very organic. And they make some great wines, but they just never made that much of them. But the quantities are starting to come online. The caliber is world class. In fact, you've got families like Gaia from northern Italy bought a very large vineyard, built a beautiful winemaking facility, and it's just a really raw and exciting place for wine. The grape variety that we have in the glass is Nerello Mascalese. That just doesn't flow right off of the tongue. It's not a grape that you talk about very often. It is specific to the Mount Etna appellation. And the wines that come off of Etna, if they're red, they're probably Nerello Mascalese. There's another grape variety called Nerello Cappuccio that they often blend with a Mascalese. To that, those are the two options. You rarely ever see a Nerello Cappuccio by itself. It's kind of just second fiddle to the Nerello Mascalese. And off of Etna, this is what you're going to get. Now there are many different wines throughout Sicily, but we're talking about Etna here, which is all volcanic and really alive. And so the winemakers, they kind of live on that edge, and they're making wines that are, just really natural path. In fact, very little, if any, sulfur is added to these wines. And if you don't like minerality, you're not going to like this wine. This wine is one of the kings of minerality. And you also get that rusticity that comes with 10 years of age and oxidation and natural winemaking practices, kind of unprotected. And so let's get into the glass and smell as we read this really nice review, 93 points. Crushed black cherries, cloves, blood orange, dusty earth. Get just a little bit of that balsamic kind of rawness, sour cherry. You can smell like maybe some old leather books. I love the fact that they like to show it to you with the elevation, with the way that it's presented. This is something they want you to taste like it. Instead of giving you a raw piece of meat, they've given you something that's been roasted or dried or aged, and so it's got so much character to it. This is really cool. I love having this with if they're on the island, you're probably having this with lamb or pork or venison or something gamey, maybe some rabbit. This is what it looks like at the winery, looking straight up the volcano. You can see there's always that white cloud coming off the top. And they use this stick, one cane per vine, to help train the vine straight up to limit the shadows. This is the blow my mind away thing. The current vintage is 2015, and this is less than $40. It doesn't make any math sense to me. Now, I'm not saying that everyone's going to love this wine, but if you've been to Sicily, if you've eaten dinner with a Sicilian family, then you're going to connect to this wine. And the connection is strong. And it's a connection that's, really about the cuisine. This isn't sit around the fireplace wine. This is for the dinner table with a really fun and ambitious set of cooking. Um, and if you're in a game lodge, this would be amazing having this wine. You could buy this wine off of a top Italian wine list, and you walk into any top Italian restaurant, they're probably going to have this wine. If they have any wine of Sicily, this is probably a contender. This is brought in by Rosenthal Wine Imports and Rare Wine Company brings us in. Same company, they're partner, but Rare Wine, really a high selection of excellent wines, and uh, this wine's just truly authentic and truly special. I'd love to hear both positives and negatives about anyone that is tasting this. Natalie, was that love for the red?
Yeah, I love any kind of red that's got a little bit of funky, dusty earth to it. I
Yeah.
always say it kind of reminds me of, grandma's basement that you haven't explored for a really long time. It's just got some.
Opening up the cedar chest and seeing
Mm-hmm.
old books and the family albums and the clothes that you weren't supposed to see because you put them away 15 years ago.
Yep.
I totally agree. And this is just, I mean, this is etched in my memory. And the last time I had this wine, I had the 13, and I'm not sure if there was even a 14 brought into America, but this wine is very consistent. It is very dependable, very consistent, and so fairly priced. Again, it's just I could imagine having it with some game where they might be playing around with like some chopped olive. I don't think they would call it tapenade in Sicily, but they would call it something. And every restaurant in Sicily is farm to table. And if you saw the movie Big Night, which is a classic Stanley Tucci movie, he loves Sicily. It's all about the food. It's a wonderful place to go and visit. I do intend to return to Sicily in a few years, and uh, we'll gather our strength and get there.
I just have to say I've enjoyed smelling the wine as much as I've enjoyed tasting it. I've probably had my nose in the glass more than I've had wine pouring into my mouth.
I love that. I love that you just said that because exactly this wine is so much to be appreciated, and the nose really just takes me there. And it's super unique, and it's super rustic. And for those of you that are sitting there going, I don't like it, this isn't for me, don't worry. We're not judging you. But get Sicily fast.
Maybe judging a little. No, I'm just kidding.
What's wrong with you? No, I'm just kidding. Lisa, do you agree with me? Come on.
Yeah.
Lisa speaks Italian. She's going to retire to Italy. So,
I swear it smelled like a candle that I had just blown out. It
ooh,
had that little,
that's cool.
yeah.
Well, that kind of kiss of burnt match type thing, and I like that. That's fun. All right, we're doing well. That was just our first red. It's that one kind of brings back so many great memories. And if you are going to go to Sicily, I've got some recommendations for you. one part of the reason I love doing what I'm doing here is I get to kind of, taste these wines and have the memories of these trips. And we've traveled hard for, it's it's great work if you can get it. It doesn't pay great because you go and spend all the money getting there and enjoying it, but the memories are so strong and it's a little bit addictive. And so we've planned a bunch of fun trips. I'll show them to you after we're done talking about the wines. And probably next year we're going to go to Oregon and Washington. And this is a brand I'm going to probably talk about the winemaker from this winery several times over the next year. Really a top talent. The Force Majeure, I first tasted these wines. I've got some, I think we just sold it like this week, the 18 vintage, which was their first vintage. I bought it. I loved it. Wasn't the easiest sell, just kind of sat around. But each year it goes by, this winemaker keeps racking up awards and reputation and also clients. He's making wine for a lot of different people now. But this is a wine that comes really close to the border of Oregon and Washington. This is the Columbia Valley. And each wine that they make is pretty different. There's some really famous sites, Waluke Slope. This is Walla Walla, Red Mountain. These are really high quality spots, Horse Heaven Hills. Um, there's some white wines coming out of the Columbia Gorge that are catching people off guard, how good they are. This is a wine that's made by Todd Alexander. If that name sounds familiar, I've showed off his Halocene wines before, and that's a brand that he and his wife own. This is a wine that he's the consulting winemaker for. I don't like how it says at the time this vintage was created. So maybe he's not the winemaker there anymore, but we'll find out. Located in Walla Walla Valley. It's a estate-grown single vineyard Bordeaux wine that we're tasting tonight. But I could have very easily decided to show you the Rhone that comes off of this property. Just really good and really artistic. And I know it's has a lot to do with all the different people that are involved in this wine. And their appellation, hillside, stony, very dry, would be a desert if there wasn't irrigation. Look at the way they're manicuring this canopy. This is a single cane canopy. They're growing it straight up the cane like you would in like the Mosel. Training it one vine. Note that the vines aren't being stretched out across a wire or anything. Just really beautiful vineyard work. This one is the wine, the bottle that's on the left. It's called the Alluvio, and it is a 53% cab, 28 cab franc, 10 merlot, 9 petit verdot. It is meant to be enjoyed. I did some work with these guys. They came down and did our Rhone Warriors tasting, which, by the way, they won. 20 wineries in the room. This was the winning winery of the night. They didn't even pour this wine at the tasting. They poured all the Rhones at that tasting and won. But I did some work with this winery. And one of the many jobs I carry, I receive some wineries and take them to see some top accounts, and got this wine placed in 2 top steakhouses in Los Angeles, Steak 48 and Balter in Brentwood. And I just, they had so much success. I was tasting the wine. I said, I'm gonna bring it into the store too. It was just so good. Cab Sauv, Cab Franc, Merlot, Petit Verdot checks all the boxes. This is 53 Cab Sauv, so that's why they have the branded name instead of calling it a Cabernet, because there's just not enough cab in there to call it pure cab. Um, there's a picture of Todd. Oh, there you go. Todd is now gone as of 2025. That's kind of sad. Didn't know that. Succeeded by Lewis Skinner. We'll find out more about that in the future. But Todd is a really accomplished guy, and he's got a lot of clients. So you'll hear more about Todd in the future. 94 points, Jeb Dunnick. That score wasn't hung on this wine when we were taking it around. That's a very new score. This wine is brand new. 2021 is current vintage.
Ian, it said on the other page that it should be consumed immediately, but then it says here, oh, is it because
They're saying that you can drink it immediately.
oh, okay.
But it has incredible age ability. It's but it's they make some higher tier wines that they probably don't touch until it's 10 years old. Um, uh, and Todd makes another wine that we actually I talked about recently when we did our high-end Cabernet review. It's called From the Sky Down. That's 100-point wine now, from Washington. And all these wines just have incredible balance between the etched minerality, the acidity, and this wonderful textural thing that he's able to get that a lot of people can't. A lot of people don't. A lot of people from Washington make wines that are all minerality or all acidity and tannin. He gives you a little bit of that joy, a little bit of that richness, mouthfeel, yum, and you know that this is Cabernet. It doesn't lose its Cabernet presence, but the Cab Franc and Merlot and Petit Verdot are all playing big roles here. And then there's the price. This is a really good fighting wine, around 50 bucks. This is just a knockout. And I know on those wine lists I was just talking about, they look at it and they're like, wow, how many wines at 150 bucks on our list taste like this? And it might be like 125 to 150 on those wine lists. But yeah, they're going to mark it up, a couple times. And so this is just a really good, solid value proposition that can give you a lot of wine, estate grown, great pedigree, good score. And I think it's kind of got like one foot in the old world, one foot in the new world. George, I'm glad you like it. Yeah, you said Rhone wine name from this winery. Is that because force majeure? Are you familiar with them for making Rhones, or does that mean something to you that would connect to the Rhone? Because I'm not sure. Um,
Well, I thought you had mentioned they had another bottling that was of their own varietals.
oh yeah, oh yeah.
Maybe I misunderstood.
No, you're right. In fact, the majority of what they do is Rhone varietal.
Okay.
You see,
Well, then I can just look up the winery and find what I want. Yeah.
yeah. Let me see. Force. I don't know if I still have some. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I sold the 17 vintage. I bought 17 and the 18. Oh, there's one left. Well, that's not fun. But I had a bunch left, but his wines are getting some great scores, and people are starting to chase them down. I think they were probably in a position when they first got started where he was making more wine than they were selling, but the scores have been coming in every year. And these wines sometimes take, especially Rhones, man. You could make a Rhone wine and get 100 points on it, and nobody wants to touch it until it's 5+ years old because they can be pulverizing until they start to release and they start to relax. And so I know I got a wine store full of Rhone wines that aren't selling until all of a sudden, boom, everybody wants them at all price points. So that's just kind of their own story. They just need a little bit more time. That's why a lot of restaurants just don't play very well in the Rhone category. And it drives me crazy because most Rhone wines are sold at retail, and they should almost all be sold at great steakhouses and restaurants. Just imagine, $50, $75 bottles in these restaurants with the food, that would make a lot of sense. But we're in California, and California mentality is either drink European or drink Californian, and Washington does get a little overlooked up until now. I think that's changing as our California prices go higher and higher. We're opening that door for Washington to come and eat our our kind of middle of our seller budget, and they will do it. They will take it away from. We cannot make a $50 wine that can compete with what they can get out of Washington. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, when I was first starting my wine drinking, I really got into Washington State wines, and for some reason I went away, went back to California, forgot all about Washington. But this is reawakened in me that holy crap, especially the Walla Walla area.
Yeah, here's the Sky Down wine that I featured in the high-end cab tasting. So we're not talking just about cheap wines either. Yeah, they can hit $200 with the best of them. In fact, I think this week, for the first time ever, Washington got 100 points on a white Bordeaux wine, and that one's close to $200 as well. So they're not afraid to price it up if it's farmed to that level. Well, I hope you enjoyed that as much as I do. I think it's a mouthful, and super great to look forward to having that with a great piece of meat like a ribeye, something with some wonderful richness and fattiness, and that'll just be delicious. We'll move into Storybook. Mountain Napa Estate. This is the Mayacamas Ridge Zinfandel. I'm a huge Zinfandel fan. I made Zinfandel, and I have always loved Zinfandel. I've been a warrior for the grape variety. Storybook Mountain is a storied brand, um, and this guy is a bit of a character. Not sure if any of you have met him before, but he is very outspoken, or maybe not heard from at all. He's kind of part hermit, part curmudgeon. He's pretty interesting in that way. He is the grape grower. He's out there kind of like in the Calistoga northern part. Let's see if it says Calistoga here. I want to make sure that's right. I think it is. Yeah, Calistoga. But he makes wine kind of the old-fashioned way. He's an old-fashioned guy. His name is Jerry, and he has his fans and he has his detractors. Um, Here's the sign that the vineyard is a very historic site, planted in the 1800s, and took it over by Jerry and his wife, and they've been there a long time. 400 acres of vines, really significant. And in fact, it's so significant, I think they kind of err on the side of making too much wine, more wine than they can sell. And they just kind of refuse to sell their fruit. They just want maintain control, and that's where things kind of go a little crazy for them. Um, but it is a beautiful site. I've walked this vineyard with Jerry. I've looked at the caves. He's a just a like an iconic winemaker. Looks like it. Looks like he's been making wine for 100 years. He's got hands that are like, you know, probably break rocks. He's just this really massive personality, massive figure, and he has this wonderful slopes where you get some fantastic fruit that is absolutely going to reward you if you can wait 5 years. Now, this is the problem that I faced with my King Zinfandel too. You need 5 years. These wines need time, and he just makes it kind of the way I like to make it, which is to let it be aged a little bit, keeping the alcohol restrained. When you start seeing Zins going towards 16% alcohol, that's because they know that they need to sell these wines and make them more candied so that those tannins soften up. No, no, no. Let this thing be the beast and let the time tame it and bring it into what it can be. And that's why I really do have an appreciation for his wine. And when they came to me and they tasted me and they said, we have some 2021, a great vintage, and the price is just ridiculous. And I was like, oh God, I got to take some of that. So, um, I've got a nice little chunk of it, and it's 100% Zinfandel. They do know what's planted on these vineyards, and you can really smell that fantastic wild, herbal component. They're saying sage, but it's like a chaparral, black fruits like blackberries and plum, black pepper, earth. Some the tannins here, he does a pretty good job of making the wine in nice balance. That nose is awesome. Awesome. It's 92 points. There's Jerry. Classic California Zinfandel. I think so too. And everything on their ranch is, very friendly to their surroundings. They live there. They eat the stuff they grow. They have a big enough vineyard. They hunt on their vineyard. They can do it all. And this bottle is $30. A Napa, Zinfandel with some wonderful estate grown for $30. This is what this is why I got into Zinfandel too, because the math, I was like, if Zinfandel doesn't, get the respect at the higher price points, it's never gonna stick around. You could rip this vineyard out and turn it into Cabernet, and Cabernet could sell at $100 right across, right down the street. Silver Oak is not too far away. This is just a mammoth, beautiful Zinfandel. I salutes to him for making it. It's man, it's really a beautiful iteration, a great value. I'm very happy to have it, but I know the hard work, sweat, and tears and pain that he has. I mean, thank God he owns the vineyard, because if you're buying, like on I was paying over $7,000 a ton for my fruit, and I'm paying for that from my best friend. You can't make a $30 bottle of wine from $7,000 a ton fruit. That's like making a $15 steak. You can't even buy a steak for $15. It doesn't happen. So, this is just really pretty gorgeous stuff. This is another wine. I could just smell this wine. Just love that nose. And if I were to make this wine, I would hope I would make it exactly the same way. I think another thing I really like about this wine. This would be the way I'd want to make it. And that's still very young. Tannins are still, right there, waiting to dry out your palate. But it's a delicious wine. So going to be so good with food. And I really hope you enjoyed it. Tasted 6 wines that I really think I want to, stand behind. Brought them into the store in quantity. The one wine I'm going to run out on is that Cxakolina. I hope you enjoyed that too. It's such a good wine for the summer. If you're going to the beach or the pool, any kind of warm day, keep that thing in the ice. It is so refreshing. Um, the oh, by the way, the Italian white, they said you should encourage people to lay that down. I've never heard anybody promote laying down an Italian white like that, but they said that if you come see us, you can taste the 10-year-old, 15-year-old wine and see what happens to it. So that's kind of interesting. The white Bordeaux absolutely would age. And let me just talk for a second about my trips, because I'd love to have you come with me. And my trips are posted to my Learn About Wine website. And you go down to the pull down calendar, you can see the trips. This is what I've got coming up for 26. We've got a Napa weekend that's doing pretty well so far. We've got a lot of interest already. I'll probably have that priced and up and ready to go next month. Early August, I'm hoping. The Spain trip is available now. The Corsica and Sardinia, we're in the final phases of planning. That's for April. It's looking pretty good. A good amount of interest on Sardinia and Corsica. We're going to be really focused on the blue zones and doing some really unique experiential stuff there. A trip, one thing about our trips is that we put these together ourselves. These aren't like out of a box, somebody else has taken a tour, so we're just going to sell their tour. These are truly created by us, and I use all of our connections with the wine industry. We do work with a lot of good travel people to help us, with all the logistics. But we definitely make, trying to get a little bit more for our visitors. When we went to Bordeaux, we were everywhere we went, we had the owners come out and say hi to us, taste with us. Just really remarkable experiences. This Bubbles trip, if you've been to Paris, we're going to do it in a very different way. We're going to do some historical stuff with Paris, taking us back in time to kind of the beginnings of Champagne. I did a presentation at the Getty Museum a few years ago, which kind of inspired this idea, which was kind of walk around Paris and really kind of get where, Champagne kind of started with the artists of Paris. It was a cool afternoon, evening, desserty type of a wine. Then we'll go to Champagne and we'll meet with some of the producers. We'll get some great insights. Champagne's kind of the zone less visited. It's not been very friendly to visit. There's very few hotels up there, but there's more now coming online. There's better restaurants, and the wineries themselves have really put a lot of money into that hospitality component. Brand new Michelin star restaurant going in at Tattinger, and all kinds of stuff happening in Champagne. And the other things that's happening in Champagne is the Champagne's been able to invest in another area, and that's Kent, outside of Kent in England, where the same chalky soils that make up the White Cliffs of Dover. Hey, that's chalk. Oh, guess what? That's the same vein of chalk that goes all the way from England across France into Champagne. So they started planting the Champenoise in that Kent area, and they're making some fantastic bubbles in England. So we're going to do a little London to Kent and Paris to Champagne excursion. We're going to be doing New Zealand in November next year, and this is getting a really strong response. A lot of people want to go to New Zealand, so we're putting something special together there, and that's still a little ways off, but by the end of the year, we'll have New Zealand up. Because Napa, we haven't done it in a while, we're going to do one trip this year in 26, and then we'll kind of repeat the same kind of weekend, but a totally different experience because there's so many wineries to go visit. So a year apart, the end of January. So if you can't do one, maybe you can do the other, or maybe you'll want to do both. Planning a trip to Croatia for April of 26 or 27, sorry. And then Oregon, oh, I guess Oregon, Washington's in 27. So it sounds so far away, but it's so close. I know, because when you're working on these trips, you want to get everything like a year out, but given the current economy and where we're at, we don't even know what, what's what. Some of the stuff is going to be probably pretty heavily impacted by the fact that the dollar's falling like a knife. And but so at the same time, so will the price of airplane tickets. You know how expensive air was to go into Europe the last couple of years? I bet you in a year, a trip to Europe's half as much as it is now, because they're going to need to get people to fly and to go when the dollar's $1.30. It's going back there. It will. I lived my whole life when the dollar was $1.30 to a euro, and unfortunately, that's just kind of the norm. And so the muscles that's built there, and we're going back there now. It's on its way. I heard even today that the dollar dropped a lot, so here it comes. But we'll try to pull off Croatia and Barolo. We go to Barolo every 3-ish years because it's so awesome. And I told everybody in November of 24 we'd be back in 27. We're going to be back in 27. You can take a look at some of our past trips at the bottom. We posted them. We posted some links to the photos and stuff too. I want to do better at this, but it was an idea that came along pretty late. So it's kind of like, oh, we should have done that. And so we're keeping kind of a desk of memories here for people that visited and people that want to see how our trips go. 10, 12, 14 people max. That's how we do it. A merchant of wine, fun way to look at the store is to look at all the new arrivals and see what we've been bringing in. The Sancerres are starting to roll in. We just got the brand new Hippolyte Reverdy, the 24. So some interesting things will come from our investments in Sancerre. And some really interesting stuff have been adding to the website. So check it out and look at the Zoom into Wine page, because those pages are getting built out right now. My designer's working pretty darn hard. She's in September as we speak. There's October. There's November. So there'll be some October, November, December will be fleshed out very soon. Thank you guys. Have a great night. I always get a little bit of like a withdrawal around the All-Star game, because it takes my daily baseball feed off for a couple of days. So I almost don't know what to do with myself. So I paid too much attention to the stock market on days like today. Yeah, well, gotta look in on it once in a while, try to figure out what to do.
The All-Star game was fun to watch, though. Did you watch it?
Uh, I I did watch a good amount of it. I was working actually pretty hard last night.
All right. Well, your Dodgers coach was the coach for the NL, so
Yeah, I saw some of the playback. I was very happy that Clayton got in and out nice and clean. Um, Shohei got a hit. Yeah, it was a nice game. I was surprised that it was up 6-0, and then it finished like 6-6 tied. That made it a lot better for the people that were watching the game. And the home run kind of derby to close off the game. That's kind of a fun way to settle an all-star game.
yes. Well, my Royals are on the AL, so it was nice to see us come back. At least make a showing.
That's good. No, the Royals have a lot to look forward to. It's going to be a great season for the Royals. The AL is up for grabs, and it's going to be exciting. I mean, the NL too. I mean, Dodgers are only 4 or 5 games up. It's not. They're not going to walk away with it. And even if they did, how you could win 150 games and still not make it to the postseason if you don't start winning in October.
Mhm.
I fear my Dodgers just are kind of that team that's going to win a lot of games, but they're, whether they have the spirit to win in October. I was at the game where they lost 18-1 to the Astros. That was not fun.
Mm,
You know,
yeah.
the Astros look like they're built to destroy.
Thank you so much, Ian. This was a lot of fun.
I'm
Good to
glad
be
you could do
back.
it, Leah. Thank you.
Thank you.